What's up, guys? Sam the Raid Man back here today with another video. Today is going to be a bit of a complicated one. I'll put timestamps in for anyone who's kind of wanting to jump around. This is going to be a showcase and a how-to video of how to build a budget unkillable Maneater team for the clan boss. I think this is a phenomenal team to try and get to Ultra Nightmare for the first time, which is the case for this for the guy that I'm doing this takeover for. He's awesome. He's been in my Discord community. If you guys are interested in joining my Discord, we have lots of chats there, but also you can ask me to do an account takeover, particularly unkillable clan boss teams. I love doing that. I'm a little flooded with requests, but I'm trying to make it to as many as I can. I've helped a lot of people push to Nightmare and a lot of people push to Ultra Nightmare, or just get to higher keys. So the budget Maneater team or budget unkillable team, I'll pull up this is the one I'm using. It's the ultimate budget unkillable. I think this is the best version. So basically this, if you build it correctly, you can work on Ultra Nightmare and Nightmare with no gear swapping. So you build all 5 of these champions this way, and it'll work the same way with just a different setup. So Maneater and Painkeeper are essential. If you have these two, basically you don't need anybody else in particular. Maneater's A3 needs to be booked. That's the unkillable ability. And Painkeeper's A2 and A3 need to be booked, but not the A1. Ally attackers can kind of work sometimes on Ultra Nightmare, but not on Nightmare, and counter attackers never work. I wouldn't risk them because Painkeeper gets turn meter on her A1. So if you put an ally attacker in, she's getting more A1s, or a counter attacker in, she gets too much turn meter, she cuts in, she goes too early, it's out of sync. So as much as this is one of the lowest barriers of entry to a clan boss team to get to Ultra Nightmare, I think if you have these champions and they're booked, I think you can get to Ultra Nightmare before you even have finished stage 20 dungeons or in a gold arena. Like this is a master class in unlocking unkillable Ultra Nightmare clan boss. So it is one of the more difficult teams to build because you have to essentially manipulate how the clan boss stuns, right? So the way this team works, let me pull up the calculator. Once you're in sync, which you are after turn count 3, Maneater places the unkillable and block debuffs here. So this will protect everybody right before the first AoE of the clan boss. Okay? Then everyone else goes. It doesn't matter what he does here, but we still have these buffs. Everyone goes once. It's a 2-turn duration, so it hasn't fallen off anybody. Then Painkeeper goes. It falls off Painkeeper. Fang, these can be anybody. But Fang, damage goes, it falls off. Maneater goes, it falls off. Damage goes, it falls off. Painkeeper goes, it falls off her. Now, you'll see Painkeeper went twice. One person didn't go, and that's your slow boy, which is, in this case, Frozen Banshee. So, Frozen Banshee, she uses her first turn here, so it's now at a 1-turn cooldown. Then she goes again here, and then it falls off. But the stun, when the stun goes, the slow boy, or the stun target, will still have unkillable and block debuffs, meaning they can't die. So what you have to, it's a very clever team, but it's a little bit complicated. So, Maneater protects everybody, AoEs 1 and 2. And then the slow boy takes less turns and is going to go, he's a 2 for 3. So every time the clan boss goes 3 times, he goes twice. Or in this case, she, Frozen Banshee. So she's going to have block debuffs and unkillable for every stun. So you need every single stun to hit your stun target. Now, the reason that's difficult is because the clan boss doesn't stay 1 affinity. Now, if you're on Void Affinity, it's very easy to set up. But if you're, well, say you want Frozen Banshee, that works great on magic as long as you don't have any spirit. And that works great on force because she's weak affinity. But it's not going to work well on spirit because when the clan boss is spirit, they're looking for whoever is weak affinity or neutral affinity. So before a spirit clan boss would attack magic Frozen Banshee, they would attack Void Painkeeper or Void Maneater. Your run's over. So Deadwood recommends, and I agree, a Void stun target, and then you need to make sure everyone is neutral or strong, because we're going to look at the levels of HP that each champion has to make them target the stun target if they're all neutral affinity. You just can't afford for someone else, one of your other DPS, to be weak affinity. So for example, let's go into the clan boss here. And on Ultra Nightmare, he is Spirit Affinity. So if we want to run Spirit Affinity, our stun target can be Spirit, Void, or Force. They can be weak or neutral. They cannot be magic. So in this case, we couldn't use, where is she? She's down here somewhere. We could not use Frozen Banshee. If we tried to use Frozen Banshee, she wouldn't take the stun. Somebody else would. So I've kind of built 2 variations of this team. The first variation I built is all Void champions. So if we go down here to Ultra Nightmare, this is the team that I've chosen. So it is Maneater Painkeeper, as we talked about, and then I have Rugnor, Swy Firstborn, and Skrank. And I wouldn't suggest these three necessarily. I will say Rugnor is fantastic, either as a slow boy, which I have him as, or just as a damage dealer. He does decreased defense and weaken, brings himself increased attack, and when he takes a ton of damage, which he will continually, it lowers the cooldown of his best ability, which is a decreased defense, and it hits really hard. So he is amazing. Skrank is a really good champion. He is so difficult to speed tune because he gains speed, or he gains turn meter on each critical hit for this. So you have to build him with critical because you can't let it be random, and then you have to account for that, and it's very difficult. I honestly think for the guy that I built this for, he's probably our best damage dealer option. So I kind of needed to build Skrank, but I think he'll work on Ultra Nightmare, but not Nightmare, just the way I've speed tuned this. So I would say avoid anybody like that. Hypothetically, other champions we could have built. Let's see, who else we have? Rhonda's not bad. Drexar's okay. Shamael you can't do because he gets turn meter. Aethar is okay, but I really like the idea of Void because this is a team you can run every single day. Now, I did build out another champion, or start to build out another champion, which you could replace Sawai with, and that's Frozen Banshee. As of today, it is Spirit. So the clan boss will never stun Frozen Banshee. They'll always go after Rugnor because Rugnor is neutral and she is strong against the clan boss. But she's level 50 with no mastery, so I don't think she's going to do as much damage. And Sawai does decrease defense and weaken, and she's a 60 with masteries. So we're going to go with her. So real quick, I'm going to go like super high level of the stun targeting, but it's very complicated. I will say this page on Deadwood's website is super helpful. So basically, you want everyone on the team to be 30 to 35,000 HP, thereabouts, and around 2,000 defense. Those numbers aren't super particular, but close to those numbers HP, and at least I would say 600 defense more than your stun target. So in this case, Rugnor has like 1,200 defense. You need everyone else to have 1,800 or higher. And then on the stun target, you want around 1,000 defense. His is a little high, 35 to 40,000. His is like 41. And then you want Painkeepers to be more than everyone else, so second most, but lower than the stun target. So you see that here, HP of the stun target should be the highest of the team, but not more than 125% of Painkeepers. So, if Painkeeper has 40,000, then that next person, the stun target needs to have 41 to 50. A good target is 5 to 10% more. Stun target's defense should be as low as possible. And like I said, when facing Affinity, the stun target ideally should be the weak Affinity. So, or there at least should be no weak Affinities on the team. Don't try and have a strong Affinity stun target. It's just not worth it. Then there's a ton of advanced notes, basically on how you need to break down the speed. This is really, really important. I will say this is less necessary if you have the speed calculator, because I have everything plugged in here. These are the exact speeds that I'm using, and everything works. So let me go ahead and show you the run. It's actually only manual for the first 3 turns, so it's not too bad. I'll pull this up on my other screen. If you guys are interested in using BlueStacks and helping me grow my channel, then download BlueStacks and Raid Shadow Legends through my link that I'll leave in the description below. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I hope you enjoy using BlueStacks. Yeah, and I just follow this step by step and make sure. The biggest thing is if you're trying to make sure everything falls in sync, just see if everyone's taking the turns at the right point. If someone takes a turn and they shouldn't have taken a turn, then you've messed something up. But if you plug in all the speed sets and everything you have in Deadwood Jedi's website and it looks like it should work, then it should work. So we're going to open with Maneater's A3, and then we're going to go Painkeeper's A1. Clan Boss goes. And then we're going to go with Sawai's A3. Try and put Weaken on. We get it. Awesome. Skrank's A3. For this one, we need him to crit, which he should. He does. Rugnor's A3. This is decreased defense and weaken. His accuracy is a little bit low, but we got decreased defense. And with Sawai, I already put Weaken on. Maneater A2. You can A2 whenever you want with Maneater. It doesn't matter. And then Painkeeper is going to heal. Second one goes in. And actually, this is interesting. Painkeeper takes the decreased speed, but it still does not push us out of sync, which is pretty impressive. Because I was nervous about that. The first time she took it, I thought it was run over, but it is actually not. And then Painkeeper needs to A1 here. This is actually what does it. That extra turn meter basically counteracts the speed. We need him to take the stun. So he loses a turn, which is unfortunate, but that's okay. From now on, he'll have block debuffs. I think we're actually in sync, but I'm going to go ahead and manual for a little bit longer. Painkeeper A3. And so right before AoE 1, Maneater, Unkillable, block debuffs. Boom, perfect. Painkeeper, Ragnar's going to wake up. He's up. Skrank, Maneater. We're all protected here. None of us get the debuffs. She heals us, which is big because you need him to have over 15% HP. If he has like no HP, then the clan boss isn't going to, he knows he's unkillable and won't try and kill him. Also, you see there decreased cooldown, the decreased defense and weaken ability gets lowered every time he loses, I think, 10% or more of his HP. So I'll go over a few other things. We're fully in sync now. The damage isn't incredible for any of these champions. We don't have Warmaster on Painkeeper, I don't think. Or maybe we do have Warmaster on Painkeeper. Maybe it's just Ragnar we don't have Warmaster on. Anyways, the damage isn't spectacular. It's a very slow team. Most everyone is going 1-1. Maneater's going 4-3. Painkeeper, I think, is also going 4-3. Yeah, Painkeeper's also going 4-3. Everyone else is 1-1. Ragnar is actually 2-3, which is very, very slow. That's about as slow as anybody will ever be in a clan boss team. So it's a lot better to have poisons in here, which we definitely could do. Somebody in a toxic set would work. I messed around with Ragnar in a toxic set, but I couldn't get him to his accuracy levels at level 50 in the toxic set. So I prioritize the accuracy because we need the increased defense and weaken up the whole time. So in terms of numbers we're looking for, around 17.5 million is a 4 key, which I think is solid. A 3 key is really what you want, and that's like 23.5 million, just under 24 million. So yeah, I think this is cool to watch, guys. I mean, the stun goes to Ragnar every single time. It actually helps us because it decreases his cooldowns, and everyone else is super killable, easy targets, and the clan boss just keeps going back at Ragnar, which I think is super fun. I will say some other things. Everyone else you kind of want to heal up. Maneater, Skrank, Sawai, Painkeeper. You want to heal up, but you don't want Ragnar to heal up. The only time you want him healing at all is right there when Painkeeper goes with her spectacular A2. That heal is perfectly set to make sure that he takes the stun every time because you want him to have more than 15% HP, but not more than that, like not more than 17 or 18%. And if he has Life Drinker, if there's Leech in the clan boss like there is now, that can actually kind of throw it out, which is why it's a little interesting because basically everyone else needs to have more health than him. Right, so you see Sawai goes up to about a third health there. Painkeeper doesn't have much. So we need to be careful because we need him to have more. Painkeeper to have more than Sawai. But everyone goes back to 0. Painkeeper to have more than Ragnar, sorry. And he's going to heal up a little bit more than them. So yeah, I know one kind of easy cheat code is running Painkeeper in Lifesteal gear or people in Immortal gear or Regeneration gear. But I don't think that's super necessary. If you follow the HP numbers and you have the affinities figured out, I think you should be fine to go. It is difficult. Like I said, I avoid building this one just because it's so complicated. But at the same time, it really is not very gear required. Like one guy had Demitha, Seeker, Deacon, and Eris, and I was like, oh, awesome, Mythfu. But he had nowhere near the speeds required for that team. It's like, man, that's such a bummer because that's one of the best unkillable teams. Also, if you guys are interested, first of all, subscribe to the channel if you like clan boss content. I want to put out a video like my favorite, not necessarily the best, but my favorite block damage unkillable teams, like top 5 or top 10 or something like that. Let me know in the comments if you'd be interested in seeing that, and let me know what's your favorite block damage or unkillable team, because I think there's so many nowadays, and I think there's a lot that are really fun. So I'm curious. Anyways, this is like a relatively easy one to get into. But that being said, it takes a ton of time to build. And this guy's had me back on the channel a few times. I've actually built this about a week ago. But I tweaked some things. He 60'd his Painkeeper, and then that threw everything out. So I had to go back in here and change her health levels. It's very complicated. Ragnar needs to go to 60, but then I'm going to have to rebuild him as well. But I think once Ragnar goes to 60 and or Frozen Banshee goes to 60 and gets masteries, I think we can get to a 3 key. So you can see right now, we're halfway through and we're at 8.81. So we doubled that, we'll be at like 17.6. It should ramp up a little bit towards the end, like Skrank's damage goes up. Anyone who's got, I don't remember the name of the mastery, but there's a mastery that increases your damage for your A1. It's like Meticulous or something. I can't remember what it's called. But it increases your damage throughout the duration of the fight. So your A1 start to hit harder and harder. Boom. Decreased defense. And we can also, Ragnar's not booked. So decreased defense. Same thing with Sawai. So our damage is a little bit lower. Skrank is fully booked. Skrank really carries this team. If we took him out and put Frozen Banshee in, I don't think we 4-key. It's honestly really, really tough. A lot of the damage you're going to do with any team, but particularly with this team, is very gear dependent. And I think that if you don't have good gear or insane champions, you're going to have a difficult time. So you really need to have one. And in this case, he's got good champions. Like, these are all fine champions. Frozen Banshee is a great option, but masteries, books, those kind of things hurt. And this gear is fine, but it's not amazing. There's not a lot of silver. I keep spending all this guy's silver every time I log into his account. Okay. I think that's it. Also, like I said, this is a very difficult team to build. So if you're looking to build this team and you're struggling, feel free to message me in Discord. Like I said, I'll leave that Discord link below. Or if you think you have what it takes to build this team on your account, but you can't figure it out, or you just want me to build it for you, I'd be happy to try. Like I said, this is the toughest one, so I'm going to look for alternatives first to see if there's something easier for me for the sake of my sanity. But I am happy to build this because, like I said, a lot of times this is the best people can do. And it's not a bad option. It's definitely a good way. Breaking into Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss is absolutely worth the effort, so I'm happy to do it for you guys. I'm going to go ahead and speed it up and turn my mic off, and we'll come back at the end, take a look at the damage. $49. We've hit our 4-key. And to be honest, I mean, kind of close to a 3-key. Not that close to a 3-key. It's just tough. I mean, it's like at this low of speeds, Maneater doesn't do a ton. 18.21. So Rugnar only does 818. That's all raw damage. That's no War Master or anything like that. So I 2.7. That's damage and War Master. Maneater 2.7 damage and War Master. Painkeeper 2.9. It's kind of impressive, honestly. I think the Phantom Touch really helps here. Skrank 8.9. Skrank definitely carries us. Full masteries, HP burn, and he just hits really hard. There are definitely better champions than Sawai and Ragnar, right? If you had a ninja here, you're cruising. Honestly, a Frozen Banshee here, I think, puts up at least the same now as a 50. When I ran her as a 50 and testing, it did about the same. With a 60 with masteries, I think she goes up to about 5 million, maybe more. It's hard to tell, but with Ragnar with masteries and Frozen Banshee with masteries, I think this can be a 3-key. It's tough. But a 4-key I don't think is terrible. I think maybe putting Painkeeper or Ragnar in Toxic could help a little bit. But Ragnar, like I said, I couldn't make work. Maybe at 60, that's more of an option. So, that being said, I think that's going to be it for the video. I know it's kind of long. It's a very complicated team. Hopefully what I said was helpful and makes sense to you guys. If this is the only unkillable team, a difficult unkillable team is by far better than no unkillable team. It is so hard to get this number with a traditional team. Like, I know that seems crazy. This doesn't seem like that much when you're trying to get to 70, but it absolutely is. Traditional teams are just very, very, very difficult, very gear dependent, and very champion dependent. This is much easier. So, that being said, join my Discord, guys. Please leave a like on the video, and I'll see you on the next one.